Okay, so where were we? Oh yeah, we turned in uh, the night before. Now, the reason we turned in kind of early is because for October 8th, yes, I'm mixing up my dates again. October 8th, we decided we wanted to go to the Garden District. It's really kind of just posh, beautiful, historic area, just a little southwest of where we were staying in the French Quarter. So it was one of the few times that we actually strayed a good distance from the quarter. But it was an area that I was definitely interested in seeing for its historic significance, and my girlfriend really wanted to see it. And so we got a lift, we headed down that way, and it was beautiful. But we had to get up early and head out there because it was going to be one of the hottest days we were there, and we didn't want to be doing extensive walking during the heat. But we saw a lot of really beautiful homes out there, including some homes that either are currently owned by celebrities or used to be owned by celebrities. I know Sandra Bullock has or had a house out there. We actually passed by a house that John Goodman owned or may still own. We also passed by a house that Nicolas Cage used to own, that at the time of our visiting it, it was obvious that they were doing some kind of repairs on it. I want to say there was like a dark history to that house. It was super haunted, and Nick Cage took off when the getting was good. You know, beyond the places that had the most historic significance, just every house in that area was beautiful, and we got to watch the streetcar go by a few times. We even considered taking the streetcar, but it was always so packed that we decided against it. I remember like one of the last things we saw was the house where reportedly Jefferson Davis, who was the president of the Confederacy, the house where he died. There was also multiple locations where author Anne Rice lived. My girlfriend's a big Anne Rice fan, so she really wanted to see those places while we were down there. And as we traveled around, another spot that we really wanted to see, I think my girlfriend had seen it before, but I hadn't seen it, and we hadn't gotten to see a cemetery yet, was the historic Lafayette Cemetery that's there. And there was kind of some mixed information around the internet saying, you know, it's closed, but then some people were like, yeah, it's closed, but like, you can still go in there if you want. But when we showed up, all the doors were, or the gates were chained up. I even saw a tour going on ahead of us, and they walked right past it. Like, nope, we're not going in there. So I managed to get some pictures, but alas, we weren't able to go inside. I think they're doing some renovation work there. And going to see a cemetery is one of those things we wanted to do, and it's one of the few things we ultimately ended up not doing. I even went out on my own brief little live stream, and I was going to visit this cemetery that was really close to us, but as I was approaching, I saw two guys walk in and immediately turn around and walk out. I walked by, and there was a security guard sitting there, and it seemed to me that it was only open to people that were actually doing tours that day. So in the end, we never got to see a cemetery. But after that, we actually ended up at a place called The Rink. It was like a really old historical building that had a bookstore and some other stores in there, but used to, I think, be like a big ice rink once upon a time. And that's kind of where we ended our adventures. It was starting to get warmer, and we decided to go to lunch and traveled kind of right up the middle of New Orleans, which is the only time we got to see that area, and headed up north to have our lunch. And we went to Louisa's, I'm always messing that name up, Louisa's by the Track, I think is the full name. And that was delicious. It was another instance. It was very crowded in there. It's a kind of a small place, and it was Saturday, so it was football day, and we're in New Orleans, and the LSU game was on the TV, so, I mean, that's part of the reason why it was packed. But the food was really good, and kudos to, like, the literally one waitress that was going around helping everybody. She killed it. So, after that, we went back to our room, had a brief rest. This, honestly, in terms of how much moving around we did, was probably the busiest day we had, because we walked around for a few hours in the Garden District, and then later in the evening decided to just go out and kind of walk around again, as it was starting to get dark out. And the French Quarter, when the sun is just starting to go down over the hill, I guess, so to speak, even though there's not really hills in that area. It's really beautiful in the quarter during that time. And we explored a few areas I hadn't really been to, some of the streets that are more to the southern portion of the quarter. And we even hit an area that I particularly loved, being me, which was an area that was full of kind of some more kind of run-down buildings. And you know me, run-down, blighted, abandoned, vacant-looking buildings, that's my forte. So that was nice. But yeah, we just continued to walk around for a while after that, taking in some more of the sights. And as it started getting really dark, we actually stopped by this really big, kind of beautiful building now that it said it's Jackson's Brewery, so I can only assume it was a brewery at one time. And it was really nice there. We went upstairs. There was like a wedding. There was like wedding photos being done outside of this building, so we had to like detour into the building. We were in like the food court area, which was like a ghost town in and of itself. A lot of the spaces in there looked like they were completely vacant or had recently been vacated. There was like a little mini museum there, I think, dedicated to the products that came out of that brewery, because it was called the Jackson Brewery, and I noticed that the beer brand was Jack's. I mean, we didn't stay around that long to learn the history, but I'm guessing that's what the association is. And then we went out, we walked the dark streets a little bit longer, but we were pretty wiped out, and I was really starting to get tired. I was like, I want to go back to the room, I'm dead. And we had a busy day ahead of us the next day. So the last thing of significance we did, it's one of the things you have to do if you stay in the French Quarter. We went to Lafitte's to get some of their purple drink, which was pretty good. I thought it was a little bit kind of bland and watered down compared to other drinks we'd had, but it was all right. But Lafitte's is... their reputation is that it's like the oldest bar in America, and it used to be a blacksmith shop. So it's this really run down. It looks kind of like a rundown old house that's been turned into a bar, but I mean, it looks run down because it's super duper old. So it has a major reputation, and it was always constantly crowded while we were there. But after getting our drink, we went back and we finally settled in for the night. We were wiped out, and we had another tour to be prepared for the next day. Oh boy, we gotta dodge traffic again. No, they don't even have like the little button you push to flash the yellow light. You just gotta take your life in your own hands. Oh, there's the bus. I don't know if that's ours.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay, we're about to have an accident. It's astonishing how non-pedestrian friendly this city is. So here we are, another day where we have to get up fairly early because we had another tour to go on. As opposed to a swamp tour, we were going on a plantation tour today. Actually, 2 of them. We hopped on a bus, and instead of traveling north of town, we traveled way west of town through a lot of kind of swampy land, and through this area that between New Orleans and Baton Rouge back in the day was just lined with plantations. And we did 2 tours of 2 plantations that were located just a few miles from each other. First things first, we went to the Laura plantation, and then we went to the much more famous Oak Alley plantation, and going to each one was, definitely kind of a rocking, jarring experience. But the Laura plantation, the tour we had was fantastic. Our tour guide, who admitted he'd done the tour some 1,800 times. If I had to do something 1,800 times, I'd lost interest probably, no matter how much I liked or was interested in the subject matter. And this guy gave a fantastic, detailed. He had a great speaking voice. And he didn't just talk to us about that plantation. He talked to us about the history in general. He talked to us about, things you might not think about. How far the slaves had to go to get to their cabins sometimes. He taught us about, the dark history after the Emancipation Proclamation, where, history wants to tell us, oh, well, slaves were freed and everything was fine, which was not the case. So it was really for the sensitivity and the darkness of a lot of the history you're discussing here. The tour that was given was fantastic. And especially, I feel like if you live on the West Coast, I would recommend something like this, actually seeing these kinds of things in the flesh, because I always felt, maybe this is just me, but I always felt as a kid growing up on the West Coast, and you learn about slavery and the Civil War, and you learn about civil rights and all of that stuff. And so much of the history that you're taught is history that happened in the Deep South. And so even though you're learning it and you know it's history and you know it's real, it almost feels kind of like an urban legend when you live that far away. You know it's real, but there can be almost this disassociation from it. And actually going to these places, seeing the buildings, and in particular at the Laura plantation, they had a few slave cabins there that were the original cabins that these people stayed in. I went inside of one, and that was kind of when it really hit. Like, there's nothing more real than this right now. So I don't know how well that makes sense, but it was in that vein, it was a very eye-opening experience, and learning that history was equally as eye-opening. So yeah, that was as much as it was part of the vacation and part of me and my girlfriend's interest to learn and experience more. It gave me a lot more than I think I was prepared for, or actually thought I was going to take in and learn that day, which is always good. And we went from there to Oak Alley, just a couple miles away, and it's well known for this posh, this long little alley that's surrounded by trees on both sides. And apparently those trees are a lot older than the plantation itself, and they were brought in and replanted there. And so we went on a brief tour there. Branches are so heavy, they're like just on the ground. Or they just grow that way.
I mean, if not, they give you a pretty good idea of what they
Yeah.
I mean, as you can see, they're the same size as Laura.
Yeah. So we can't go in, but we can peer in.
Yeah, and they have it decorated, like you can see, kind of.
I wonder if some of these items are authentic, especially that pot there.
Possibly.
But yeah, like the rope for support. Those probably broke all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You'd probably be stuck having to try to reconnect them or tie them off or something.
The guy, what was the tour guy's name we had again?
Logan, I think was his name.
You're right, Logan.
Yeah. Yeah, I just need to... Now I know what he meant when he said poison ivy, because there's not big bushels, but there's just little saplings that are coming out of the ground that look exactly like that.
Now I'm paranoid if they get itchy, but I didn't
No,
touch anything.
both my shins have started feeling itchy.
Oh, and also I forgot I have been covered up.
Yeah. So I think I'm just having
Oh, you can go the other way.
yeah, psychosomatic discomfort. Yeah, I probably have to go around.
Post-emancipation.
So this is after Emancipation Proclamation. Maybe it's that the conditions were slightly better, because you can see there's more stuff in here.
Okay, I'll narrate it. After the Civil War, Oak Alley passed for a number of owners who used the quarters for worker housing. At first, they turned the doubles into single cabins. Later, they attached additions even as they were building. However, the original structures were steadily falling apart. Workers and their families continued to live in the crumbling houses until the turn of the century. Unsanitary and unsafe, they were demolished around 1900.
Yeah. It's probably about almost 1:30, I would guess. I'm trying to get some video. Now you can't really see anybody in front. Oh, no, you don't worry about talking. I'm just saying that's nice that now there's not a bunch of people in front of it.
Oh yeah, what time is it?
We had about 8 minutes till we want to be at the spot, and about 13 before the actual tour starts. And I think we just gather back there where we started.
I don't want to interrupt that. But while you're taking your photos, I'm going to throw out the facts and figures. The trees, they are Virginia live oaks. They are between 200 and 250 years old, give or take. And they can live up to about 500 or 600 years. So that's not a long time to go. Now, sometimes when I say the age of the trees, somebody will ask me who planted them. Well, that's a complicated story. But the short answer would have to be Jacques Rahman. But wait a minute. How could Jacques Rahman have possibly planted a tree that is 250 years old? The house is only 183. Well, here's what they did. I guess they didn't want to plant little saplings. So, the way it looks today, 1932. There's always been one there, but not as
I might only come back to this building.
All right, folks.
Oh, gosh.
As far as we know, this house has never flooded. Oh, yeah, there's no documentation.
No, you got it.
What?
Yeah, this is delightful. And I'm saying that while I'm craving water. This is still quenching my
This
thirst.
is amazing. I don't even know how much bourbon there is in it, but it's wonderful. Oh, a couple things before we go in, because it's really cheap. We're going to business and then everything's so fucking bitch.
Yeah. So the Stewarts, the last owners, that said, are
Yeah,
right there
and
with
all
their,
that garden
their
was,
pets.
what was her name? Jacqueline, I think? Or I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I want to say her name was Jacqueline. I could be totally wrong. It's just a little baby cemetery.
Yeah, it looks like it's.
And they said their pets are buried here too. Maybe that's that one cross over there.
Because there's Josephine. She was 72.
Josephine. Okay, I knew it was Jane.
And then Andrew is the husband. So 2022, this Ruby died only a couple months ago. Lived to be 102.
And they
Wonder
buried
if-
her here.
And that, she'd be about 41.
Insane.
That might be one of their children if they had children later in life. I don't know. Yeah, I'm guessing that's one of the pets. I just heard one of the cats was
There's
named Batman.
2017 back there too.
Yeah.
God.
Wonder what the. Oh, yeah, and then 1994. So maybe, because if they're born in 1920, 1915, and this person was born 48, maybe that's their children and like their grandchildren,
Maybe.
possibly.
Oh my God.
These are some big old trees. These Louisiana-sized trees. Yeah. Easy, dragonflies. We come in peace.
Just like incredible. It's gotta be wonderful.
Yeah. Even though, like, I know you've shown me pictures, so I have it in my mind, but I still saw it when we passed by the first time. I was like, oh, yeah.
Are you amazed still?
Yeah.
Good. Not like this is that great.
We ain't got trees like this in the PNW. Yeah, let me know if anybody's coming or if a dragonfly
You're good.
is about to kill me.
I like how there's like one dude who's probably like or something. He's just by himself.
Yeah, he's like, man, fuck it. This is what I'm doing with my Sunday. Yeah, I just want to get the view. Yeah, I know.
And it was a fairly lengthy day. We, we were picked up around 9:30, and by the time we were done at Oak Alley, we got picked up. It was after 3 o'clock, and we headed back the way we came. And I kind of dozed in and out of sleep most of the time. And ultimately, we got back to the edge of the quarter. There was a New Orleans Saints game going on, and we got into town like 30 minutes after the game ended. So we got stuck in non-moving traffic on Canal Street and eventually got off and tried to decide where we went to dinner. But before I move away from the plantation story or tour, I have to briefly discuss, because this guy kind of decided he was my buddy and I was not having it. So pretty much both tours we went on, something crappy happened, and both times I ended up kind of mixed up with it. Obviously, swamp tour, wasp stings, but there was one particular guy that went on this plantation tour with us. He went on it with his girlfriend. He even talked to me about it, and it seemed like the only reason he was even there was because his girlfriend was into this stuff. And I could tell on the outset, first by the guy's appearance and then being near him, that he was drunk. And this guy seemed to do everything in his power to try to derail the Laura Plantation tour. And again, props to our tour guide for maintaining focus and actually kind of trying to shut this guy down a few times. This guy, first of all, he kept touching things. Like, you're not supposed to just be reaching around and wiping your hands all over a historical place, regardless of whether the history is positive or dark. And I'm not going to repeat them here because it's not appropriate, but this guy made some of the most, and he wasn't even aware he was doing it. This guy made some of the most offensive comments I think you could make while you're learning about this dark history of plantations. And these were sugar plantations where our tour guide told us the highest death rate usually happened at these types of plantations. This is deep, dark, sensitive history, and this guy was asking some really messed up questions and making really screwed up observations. And he was part of our traveling group, so when we made it to Oak Alley, he was still on the bus with us. And when we were in line, like 2 minutes before we were about to start the Oak Alley tour, we didn't see him in line, and we hoped that he didn't make it. You could get drinks there. Me and my girlfriend got a mint julep drink when we were done, and we honestly hoped that he went and got another drink and missed this tour, because this guy did not need to be around. And then, of course, he showed up right as we went in, walked around, asked a few insensitive questions as we walked around the inside of the Oak Alley plantation. He was, lugging a Budweiser with him the whole time, and it was just, there's some just crappy people out there, but still, you bump into them under certain circumstances, and you wonder how this person's even made it this far in life. But there was actually a brief moment right when the Laura Plantation tour ended. So he walked up to me and started talking to me. He was like, "Oh yeah, what did you think of it? I saw you recorded it. Did you really like it that much? And anyway, it got to the point where he asked me where I was from, because a lot of people that do tours like this don't live in the area. And I told him I was from Portland, and his response was genuinely, "Oh man, you're a bunch of liberals, you're a bunch of mask wearers, you're Antifa." That was his response. So, as big of a distraction as the guy was, I tried not to let it be a damper on, some history that I actually felt was necessary to learn more about. But yeah, this guy tried to buddy up to me, and every time he'd start talking to me, I would just kind of smirk, and me and my girlfriend would try to find a way to stand, whatever room we were in, try to stand as far away from this guy as possible because he kept looking for me. And I'm just like, no, bye, get away from me. And ultimately, we decided, because we were already thinking about going to it more than once, we went to Napoleon House again for dinner. There was a small line, but we figured, let's get in line behind these 6 people, because, again, the Saints game had just ended. Every place probably had a line, so we decided to just get in line there, and we got a spot at the bar. Didn't have to wait too long, and I finally got what I had been waiting for. My girlfriend got half of a muffaletta. If you've never had a muffaletta, it is delicious and potentially intimidating. I got a whole muffaletta, knowing full well what I was doing. They were like, "Are you sure?" The guy that worked the bar, he's from Canby, Oregon. He was born in Canby, Oregon. So he grew up literally like 15 miles south of where I mainly grew up in Oak Grove, and here we were both in New Orleans. And the Seattle Seahawks were playing the New Orleans Saints, so here I am, a Pacific Northwest guy in New Orleans for the week, and there's all these people from Seattle there. It just worked out that way. But the bartender was like, do you know how big a muffaletta is? And I'm like, oh yeah, I know. And so he brought me this muffaletta. It's this massive freaking, it's like a oversized Miracle-Gro infused burger sandwich thing. But it's delicious, and I ate half of it there, and I took the rest back to our hotel with the plan of finishing it there at some point. And so after Napoleon House, we kind of just did what we kind of usually did when we were unwinding for the day. The plantation tours, with it still being a little hot, kind of wiped us out, and we kind of walked around a little bit and gradually made it back to our room because we knew the next day, October 10th, was going to be our last full day in New Orleans, so we didn't want to sleep in too much. So we went off to bed with the plans to wake up the next day, and the primary place we were going to hit up was City Park on the north end of town. So I'm on Royale Street trying to get some beignets. It's just a drama. I had a pretty good live stream I just did. I needed to go get cash back. Went to Walgreens, left, went towards Cafe Du Monde, and realized I didn't get cash back because I'm used to not getting cash back. So I just instinctively didn't do it. Then I ate to Cafe Du Monde anyway, and line's still around the corner. It makes sense, it's the morning. It's Monday, everyone's starting their week, I don't know. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm really tired. I gotta go another block and a half down. This place on Royale, it's gonna be 10, 12 blocks getting back, and it's my own damn fault. I am horribly dehydrated right now because I've drank barely any water while we've been here, and I've just been chasing everything with alcohol because that's what you do when you're here. Okay, so this is the Supreme Court of Louisiana Court of Appeals building. I passed by it on the other side, and I was like, this place is big. Does that make sense? I think this is also a JFK filming location. Okay, so I think it's on this next block. You can get us our... What are you doing, buddy? What is this? Okay, just park it on the curb. As long as you try not to park on me, we're all good. So that didn't work. Every place has got people flooding out of the places. It's 10 a.m. Monday morning. It makes sense that all of the coffee beignet places, especially Cafe Du Monde, would be overwhelmed, and I need some water. I didn't realize it when I woke up, but after going out and live streaming for an hour and getting some of that heat in, and realizing how much more alcohol I've had than water while I'm here, which, yes, it is New Orleans. I need some water desperately right now. Ooh, hello. That looked like a Crown Royal bottle. Yeah, me and Crown Royal don't have a great past with each other.
Crown Royal was where we had the origins of Reno Steve. It started with Crown Royal, then it became a bunch of partially drank beers, and then some random stranger's Jägermeister that was in the fridge that I thought was ours that I just started chugging out of on no food. And thus, Reno Steve was born. All right, yeah, so we're gonna get our ducks in a row, maybe find another place to get some beignets, and then we'll be heading to City Park.
So City Park is one of these things that I really wish we had something similar to it in Portland, but even as I mentioned it, and I totally agree with my girlfriend, she was like, you know, if they tried to make something like that in Portland, they would just screw it up. And I was like, yeah, probably. City Park is this massive park space, complete with, you know, sports complexes, a sculpture garden, just a lot of stuff. And we had so much fun walking around there. We walked around for a few hours, and I think we maybe saw 25% of the total park space, but we saw the part we wanted to see the most. And it was just so beautiful, even just going back through the pictures that you're seeing right now. It was just such a beautiful place, and it was only like 80 degrees that day, so the weather, there was actually a nice breeze. Everything was just super nice. There were a few times where some wasps kind of floated up in my direction, and I was like, no, I'm done with that. But other than that, it was just beautiful, and they had these beautiful structures. They had these like, you know, like Greek looking old things. They had something that looked like a lot like the Parthenon. It was just, we never had a moment there where we were just bored, like, okay, what do we do now? There was always some next thing to see. There was a place called Storyland. It's like a amusement park, and they had like some kind of Storyland figures that we took some pictures with, and it was interesting because when we walked by it, the thing practically looked abandoned. I think it was probably just closed, either for the probably not for the time of year, but maybe just for renovations. I don't know. So that was really cool to see, and I also walked around and got a great deal of video while we were out there, knowing that we'd be seeing a lot of stuff that might be worth that.
City Park turtle. There's one turtle, but one of those turtles, they dove in, they were like, no, we got some white people coming.
Michael would like try and swim in it or something.
Yeah, he tried to, what's the word I'm thinking of? Free the turtles. What is that? No, I think that's just brush. I saw that at first. I thought maybe that was an animal, like a gator sticking their head up, but it's just some brush on the...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that must be cicadas.
Yeah, they know we're nearby.
This island?
Mm-hmm. Could be. This is nice, though. You can walk right down to the water. Look. They're probably in there somewhere.
This is cool. Ducks.
Ducks, what? Yeah.
See them?
Yeah, see them.
This is a lovely day to go to the park. This was
True.
so...
What kind of bird?
Wait, there's two. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
no, that's a duck?
Yeah, but the other one is definitely something else.
No, the other one, it's a wood duck.
Oh!
I think it's a wood duck.
Cute.
It's got fluff on the front.
And there's just this one duck floating by the turtles, like, hey, how you doing? And then, yeah. Allard plantation. Plantation of Louis, purchased by his grandfather, 1770s.
Is that the state bird?
Maybe? I don't know.
Look at the sign is old itself. From
Yeah, it's from the
68.
60s. Good, there's a plaque on it. Colombier Carol. Given to the city by Felix de Dreyfus in honor of his first grandchild, Carol. So I'm guessing given in 1928, that's probably when it was built. Oh, Party Central.
What? That people are rude as hell.
No, this is where the boys go to party.
That is so rude.
Yeah. I figured there'd be some trash in there, but it's a little more. Well, you know, I bet this was fully covered and somebody wrenched this off so they could go in there and rage. Look at this old light here that you can tell by
Did you
the.
get inside of there? Though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can look at how you can tell this is like an old light, especially with the
Looks like it's been cut.
the plumage.
Maybe it was a table.
Oh yeah, support of some kind. Yeah, this Urbex Island.
I was asking if you got inside of it, not like the trash necessarily. But
Yeah, like the interiors.
Because I'm like, how often maybe is that even table?
Yeah.
Inside?
Yeah, never know. Because when one more gets on that branch, it goes nuts. No, they start flapping. No, they're getting. Oh, there they go. It's gonna be like the sea lions. I see your little head moving.
It's like one of those crowded parks.
There he goes. Go climb up. Yeah, hey guys, how you doing? I'm just trying to get myself up here.
Soaking wet.
Yeah. Okay, come on. You can do it. There you go. You made it. Like, hey guys, it's a good swim. The water's just fine. Okay, yeah, what's this?
Mom had turtle soup when she was in New Orleans. I was like, that is not okay. What is this? Look at this.
What? Yeah.
Whoa.
This was something.
Hell?
Reclaim.
Is it just overgrown or is it supposed to be like that?
I'm guessing that this is, yeah, nature just reclaiming it, but I don't know. This could be like an old statue maybe, because it looks like it's. It almost looks like tree roots. You think this is a. What is it?
Yeah, you need to.
Petrified wood. This is
You need to
petrified
document this
concrete.
because this is interesting. And obviously, it's not just a chunk because you can see the little divots.
Yeah, and there's like the brick pattern. Like I'm guessing this was maybe this had some kind of statue or
I
some.
think it's a freaking gravestone.
That would be very interesting. Yeah. Now it's just like a chia pet. Chia. Yeah. Yes, I'm guessing this is just kind of like a covered hangout area. Hopefully there are no crazy people in here. Okay, just looking out for the home. A lot of bird feathers though. Look, it looks like there used to be, I bet this probably used to be a restroom over here.
Oh, you're right.
Because there's the two drains.
I was thinking that this was
There was a wall here.
picnic benches. What could have also been?
Yeah, so my guess is, yeah, this is probably a picnic area, and then here was like the wall to the restroom, and those were toilets.
It's definitely older. Like, look at this.
Yeah. Or, yeah, because I'm guessing that's where maybe the toilet went into the wall, and then that's where it went down. And they got that there. Yeah, and then one's here, one's there. And then you could like hang out and chill. Use the restroom. Yeah, this is a bird sanctuary now. But yeah, because you can see where. I wonder if maybe this was like showers, like if people used to swim somewhere around here. Because there's like this wall that or at least this looks like it might have been a wall that's gone. Then this is, so it's like there was this thin little. So maybe this was showers and that was toilets or vice versa.
I wonder if we could look at old like city park.
Oh, I'm
maps
sure.
and
Yeah, we
figure
could
it
probably
out.
find. It's such a prominent park around here. There's probably lots of imagery to show what it used to be.
I bet if you posted this on New Orleans Reddit, someone would know.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, yeah,
What
I
is
could
this?
just take
What is
showers
this
here.
bird feathery complex?
You see this regal area over here too?
There's a Regal. What Regal Cinemas? Oh, Parthenon. Well, that's something else.
See, I knew this is half the reason I want to come, because I knew, like, with the other thing we Faraffion and that, I knew there were really cool structures throughout this park.
It's in memory of someone.
Oh, come
Who made the supreme
I
sacrifice?
thought it's in memory of. I'm like, who's Comrades?
Yeah. Oh, American Legion. Oh, U.S. Army. That it.
Oh man, look at those faces on the stand.
Yeah. Oh, that looks like a big ugly spider on there too. Yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna take a picture real quick.
Yeah. Oh, hello, butterflies. Yeah.
They have these big fucking watermelons. The biggest watermelons you've ever seen in your freaking life at the market. So I'm surprised we didn't see that there.
They all got thrown in here. Yeah, this is a.
That's frozen drinks.
Yeah.
This must be like when the park's running.
It almost looks abandoned. I think it's probably just been closed for a while, and there's just a lot of stuff is
only
rolled
open
in.
when they're busy.
Yeah. Concession stand. Yeah. Frozen drinks. Strawberry lemonade. Oh, they used to have more flavors.
You can get one that's far up.
Orange
far enough
cream.
away where you can still see the sign, but like,
Yeah.
okay, let me.
What I'm videoing too. They got ice cream, chocolate vanilla swirl. They got that soft serve. And then there's just like a Ferris wheel up here too. In bricks. Yeah, there's definitely stuff in there.
Here's like,
Yeah. Oh, they're not. Oh, look. We get in that way or that way. Yeah. Locked. Locked. I think like they drilled it shut here. Well, hey, excuse me. Can we come in? Please? Please? Down lower. Just enjoying my life. This is, I don't know, I don't feel safe. This is shabby craftsmanship.
not the bridge. You see the.
Yeah, I got a shot of that.
Looks a little bit like draw me one equal your fridge.
That's something else.
Like Stonehenge. That's what I'm.
Look at you. Hello.
Big village.
This one's like, can I help you?
Yeah, well, this is close. Hey, it's like a donut. It's a unit.
Yeah, he's the watcher. He's like, don't even try any of your crap with me. There's a lot of clinging going on. Yeah. They getting a little loud. Look at this crew. Oh, they going. Oh.
This is not long.
I also wanted to visit Audubon Park, and that was kind of the original thought, was let's go to City Park and then we can go to Audubon Park, which is to the far west side. The Tree of Life is there, and it's just another cute park space that I would have liked to see before we left. But by the time we were done with City Park, it was already mid-afternoon. Every day I was getting a little bit more tired. I think my fibromyalgia was slowly starting to take hold, and so we ended up not going to Audubon Park. We just didn't have the strength for it. And being in New Orleans, we really wanted to make sure we had some time at the end of our last day to go get some more good food and to go get some more drinks before all was said and done. So we got a lift, went directly from City Park to a place called Dini's on the south end of the French Quarter. The drinks were really good. My girlfriend got what was pretty much, it was like a flatbread thing. It was pretty much like a small seafood pizza, which you'd think might be kind of weird, but it was delicious. And I got, I'd had crawfish, but I hadn't had catfish yet, so I got a catfish po' boy, which was just massive. I literally had to pull like 2 or 3 of the catfish pieces off, but it was delicious. And from there, we ventured off back around the quarter again and decided we just wanted to kind of hit up a few spots and get some drinks. And that's what we did, and that was about the most lit I'd say we got, drinking wise, was that last evening wandering around the quarter.
William Faulkner. Man about town. Yeah, no, you know what? You need to calm down. Yeah, 624 Pirates Alley.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
Yeah. William Faulkner. Man about town. Pirates Alley. I got like 2% battery left. Getting a view up the bourbon. Quiet Monday night.
Yeah, when it's not insane.
Yeah. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Taco Fuego. Did you see that guy's homeless guys that called up a sign that just says fuck you?
I saw one that said like my dog is clean.
Yeah, they're fun around here. Yeah, so there was a homeless guy nearby. He was holding up a sign and it just said fuck you on it. Yeah. Royale Street. Hotel Monteleone. That's some part of the sign up there. This sign on the roof, you can see a little bit of it. I know the Heathman used to have something like that. Again, man who ran this in the 40s
I know, you told me.
probably killed his wife.
Yep, you told me.
Just, for historical perspective. It may be a bougie restaurant, but
Not that bougie.
well, it used to be. It was bougie when the guy that killed his wife worked here. Yeah, we're back. Yeah, I remember because when we went down Pirate Alley, there was this little alley here. The Tour and Welcome Center. Are we on St. Louis? I think we're on St. Louis. Delish. Yeah, this is... Oh yeah, I think we're coming back up to Jackson Square. You know what I saw earlier today when I was live streaming? You know, like the free library things that are all over town.
Yeah.
There
Did
was
you
a
see
free
one?
Blockbuster.
No.
It was a blue thing, and it said free Blockbuster on it. If you open it up, there was actually a few movies and DVDs in there. So that's the first.
I know those shoes, buddy. I know those shoes.
I thought he was gonna do the gimmick. I thought he was gonna do the where'd you get those shoes? Damn, Daniel. But yeah, because I had to open the door to the thing and be like, I mean, I don't believe this if there's
where
not.
was this?
I don't remember exactly where. It was somewhere around here. What the heck? Free Blockbuster? That's hilarious. Are there actually movies in here? There are actually movies in here. That's hilarious. I love it. It's like those little book libraries. Free libraries, but it's a free Blockbuster. That's something like I would expect to see in Portland. But, of course, New Orleans has got a lot. It doesn't just have a lot of culture, it has a lot of charm.
No, that guy was probably totally doing a shoot. He wouldn't have been making that call.
These aren't even a common type of New Balance. It's very rare to find these types. He's like, I know where you got those shoes, buddy. Yeah. I was ready to keep walking, but then he was just like, I know those. I was like, all right, well, if you're just going to comment on where you know my shoes from, then I'm just going to keep walking. So just in case you're curious about what we're talking about here, apparently there's this thing that can happen in New Orleans. It's I guess intended to be a scam where if you're walking around, someone will walk up to you and say I know where you got those shoes. And, I guess the objective is to try to slip you up. And I'll be like, oh, I bought these in Portland. And he'd be like, no, you got them in New Orleans because that's where you are right now. And they expect you to pay up or something. I really don't understand it that well, but I've seen in some videos, apparently some of the people that do this, they'll follow you if you don't reciprocate for their dumb bullshit jokes. So I think that's what was happening there. I mean, we both did, and that's what we were talking about in that moment whilst moderately tipsy. Down. I was gonna say, if you look down any of these side streets and see a blue box, it looks kind of like a newspaper thing. That's where it's at. We could go down here. Might have been down here, I don't remember.
Yeah, I want to possibly go to Stanley, but I feel like it's going to be packed.
Could be.
Such a perfect area, but...
Yeah, certainly could be.
There's a lot of ghost stories tonight.
Yeah. It's a beautiful night. It's a good night for a tour. Y'all have fun. Yeah, dead ahead. Yeah, because this is, was this the first school or the first newspaper? I think this was the first school. Yeah, because we walked by here. Yeah, site of First Louisiana School.
Yeah, I think it's...
Because I remember seeing this sign after one of those firsts. Yeah. Ooh, that's cozy. Where are we at? We're at Royale and with cheese. Sorry. Let's go this way. This is nice and quiet. Oh, yeah. I might check this out. Yeah, I was going to say, this is... I remember I took pictures of this wall up here. It's all beat up because there used to be...
No, check this out. Castrates Estate.
Oh, no. That can't go on my YouTube. You have agency. There's nothing wrong with you. Well, I mean, that's good. Dumaine. Oh, yeah, Dumaine. Yeah, go down that way a couple blocks and... The city is our burrito.
This way.
Yeah. Roll,
You
yeah.
got this French Quarter down, don't you?
Yeah.
You know.
I have
this
most
quarter.
of the streets down.
Yeah.
I'm good with locations. I'm good with
Wait,
maps.
What's this, though?
Oh, this was
Should we walk
blocked
on it?
up. Technically, it's okay. It's probably not a great idea, but I mean, yeah. 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 Yeah, this is not a great idea. If I was sober, I wouldn't consider it, but I'm only mildly sober. Because they had that blocked over the last couple nights, but... What in tarnation? Huh?
Look, there's a cool fountain.
Oh, yeah.
You see it? It's awesome.
Like it. Good catch.
Were you able to get any of that?
Yeah, not all of it because it's, dark, but I got some decent detail. Clover Grill will always have a place in my heart. Coca-Cola is a sign of good taste. Yeah, this is definitely a place with good taste. Yeah, I don't know if they're closed. I don't see why they would be closed, but... Oh, yeah. Well, good. They get a little rest, Bourbon. Yeah, they get to have a little break periodically. I'm just kind of letting it go because I have the space, and even though it's not slow motion video, this could also be some video I could put in another video as background stuff. The idea is you get a bunch of New Orleans footage in the background, and then you put imagery pertinent to whatever story you're covering in the foreground. It's actually a fairly common YouTube thing. So, oh God, you're kidding. The heat is not rising, you're just boozing. You just have too much. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm gonna go back and start eating my muffaletta. Because I gotta eat it tonight. Yeah, let's cross. I don't know. Maybe you should have figured your life out. I didn't deny you a po' boy. The big line at the store denied you a po' boy. Oh, the kitty. Still here. Hi, babe. Meow. Meow. She's like, no, get your white ass out of here. Hi, babe. Hi, baby. Ooh, come here. Come here and be the friend. Hi. Hello. Meow. Hi. Yeah. Yeah, you just gotta stay on the straight and narrow. This cat want my alcohol. She won't get in there. I don't know why he's getting. I don't know why I'm saying she. Maybe it's because every black cat I've ever known has been a she. That might be why I'm calling him a she. Go back home. This cat's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, let's be friends. Hi, baby. Oh, hello. Hi, baby. No. Shh. Hi, baby. Yeah. Oh, that is so cute. It's a cute animal. You want to be a friend? Yeah, but this cat knows. I think this cat's had enough of our clown assery.
I think it stays around here, though.
Yeah. No, that cat knows. Just what a mildly inebriated man needs. Now is when we really get lit, though.
Hell yeah, brother.
But it's a
All night we're doing
good
Golden
time
Girls.
to be alive. Golden Girls is on the TV. I've got my monster. I've got part of a quarter of a muffaletta. I'm in. I'm ready to go. Yep. I was excited and I was ready. But then came our last day, the day of departure. And I was done. I had nothing left to give. We wanted to go to one place, but it ended up being closed, so we went back to Cafe Maspero again, and we had some Louisiana lost bread, which was pretty good. But by the time I was done, I was almost falling asleep. I was shot. And that never really went away the rest of our time there. We did, though,
despite my exhaustion and haziness, we walked around a bit longer. Obviously, it was our last couple hours in New Orleans. We wanted to make it count no matter how exhausted we were. And took in a few more sights, went down a few more streets in the quarter that we hadn't gone down yet. But the peak of the whole thing was probably, and again, I wish I was more alert for it, but we went to the pharmacy museum they have there, and they have all sorts of really cool stuff. In particular, like all these just endless canisters with all these, different medicines and elixirs and God knows what else they were giving to people back in the day. And it was really cool. It was really kind of kitschy on the outside, but on the inside also, it was just really cool. And they even had a courtyard there with a fountain. It was altogether pretty awesome. But our flight wasn't departing till like around, I think, 6:30 local time there. But by about 2:45, even my girlfriend was like, "You want to just get our lift and go to the airport and get ready?" And I was like, "Yeah." So that's what we did. We got ourselves a lift and we headed to the airport, and that was it. We caught a plane to Dallas Fort Worth and switched over there, hopped the plane coming home, and that was our New Orleans vacation. I could delve into how utterly miserable I was by the time how utterly miserable both of us were by the time we landed. I had horrible head pain from the descent, which happens to me. My girlfriend was stuck in the middle seat for over 4 hours. She could barely move her legs. I'm recording this at the tail end of October. I still haven't fully recovered from getting home from that vacation. But that said, certainly doesn't make me regret it. Possibly, I'd say arguably, my top most favorite vacation I've ever been on. Granted, I haven't been on a lot, but after the anxiety passed, I absolutely loved it there, and I've missed it at least a little bit every day since we left and came home. It was great. I miss you, New Orleans. I miss you.